I was walking to the store yesterday, I think, and I was one of the bar owners in town parked on the side of the road and started to scream at me that I was nothing. I had nothing because I was nothing, and it made me realize he had a point. I the thing is, I do have something that people don't realize. I have something special that no one else can remove away from me. But this is what I'm told by people after all my hard work, and I'm realizing at the end of the day, I'm still nothing because I got nothing. And I got nothing because I am nothing. And it's only because that's where people put me. And you can't change certain things in the world. Honestly, you just can't. No matter how hard you try, you gotta roll with the flow or you will never survive. And if you're not shady, you're not part of the group. Yeah. And I feel bad for people in general because I would have seen so much potential before, you know. And a lot of people in town were talking good about my stuff, you know. It's sad when it's just one person that out of the blue just is so negative towards you that just ruins your day, right? And overall ruins your 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 but I just realized this morning waking up, I woke up early. I slept like 3 hours maybe. It's fine. I at least slept, right? I worked hard last night, but I did sleep a few hours. And when I woke up, it's just something was telling me deep on the inside, it's time to stop. You know what I mean? I kept working this morning. I kept trying to work something out for some reason, and I realized, ultimately, I'm putting too much effort for nothing. So, with that said, I'm just gonna light a smoke, and I'm just gonna be honest with people in general, whether you're a viewer or not. You know, uh, people are still talking in general about stuff and about me, and my story, and I was on the TV and all, but does it change anything? That's what people should realize. These leaders are still in power, and I'm not. I'm still not gaining any momentum with my work. It's just they're all saying this and that, and without actual anything happening for me. I would have to find a trillion to, for example, Walmart to stop them from shutting doors. Walmart treated me like a slave when I worked for them, and I get no money. I'm doing all this hard work for free, living on disability, and they won't even send me enough money to buy food or even get a fucking Xbox. I spent like 6 trillions basically on game companies, and I would still not even be able to get a goddamn fucking Xbox. And that's what hit me this morning. It's like, well, it's true though. At the end of the day, it's time you, it's time you stop, and it's time you just leave everybody just to their own fate. And the reality is, I saw a lot of paranormal stuff in my years in my life, and I'm not gonna issue threats. All I'm gonna say is, at the end of the day, one day, you might not believe right now. You might be doing whatever you think is right or whatever you want out of life, but one day you'll find out truth for yourself. What is on the other side, whether you were a good person or a bad person. And it's not my place to judge you. It's not my place to shame on you. It's not my place to tell you how to live your life. If you continue to want to poison my life, that's all on you. And honestly, I'm just not gonna let you affect me. I'm a much better person knowing I put the effort. and all the hard work in my life and all the self-sacrifice and all the tragedy I've been through, I know I'm a much better person than most without putting myself on a pedestal because I can observe and I can at least compare, and all I know is not a lot of people would go through what I've been through and manage to tell the tale, and I'm quite proud of everything I've been up to, you know. So whether or not I was a success, not even important, because I would have never been. No matter how hard I would try, who would fund, who would invest, who would care. You know, you know, no one would actually care for whatever I did, no matter how hard I tried, and I realized that. It's all over TV, it's all over in the internet, but no one would actually even care, you know, and it's okay. I do realize I wasted a lot of time, and I'm gonna catch up on a few things. You know, primarily, you know, I'm just gonna start relaxing, you know, enjoying myself a little bit more. Not that I have much to hope for, but instead of wasting 24 hours a day trying to make something happen that won't, I'll smoke a toke and drink a beer, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'll just try to live with what I have and appreciate what I have and be content, on the contrary to most people. You know, I have billionaires who complain they don't even have enough and that they're going bankrupt, but yet they have multiple bank accounts overseas, and they have shitloads of money, and they would rather sell out their company at a loss, and now they complain. Yeah, they still have billions to their name, and or some hidden through overseas accounts. You know, that kind of shit, you know, is true. And ultimately, it's like, gee, I'm funding people and I'm making all these sorts of offers and projects, and none of them are even happening, and I'm not even making a cent. And if this is true that they're pushing these funds or whatever, I'm actually funding companies that put me into slavery over my life, and I'm not even earning a penny for any of my hard work. And it's about time I stop. I wish I could proceed. I wish I could make these inventions of mine a success. I wish I could actually be a success, period, in anything. You know, I wish I would have a chance at life. I wish I could even just a full-time job again. In this town is nearly impossible. There's no work. You know, I'm just stuck in a situation where it is what it is, you know. The force of things put me in a situation where I'm just, and it's always been similar, you know. It's like this, you know, it's no matter how hard I try, just nothing happens. You know, they keep telling me, "Oh, don't give up. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen." But you're not the one in my shoes. You know, you're not the one scrounging all the time. You know, I'm not saying I'm not gonna talk to people. I'm saying I'm just gonna chill. And frankly, my opinion is maybe it's simply for the best overall that my inventions don't become a thing, because here's why. You know, maybe the other world is simply better on the other side, and it's up to me to discover it when it's time. That's what I'm gonna say. You know, instead of trying to carbon print my family, I'm gonna wait for my own time to go. Because all I see is pure evil in this world, and bringing my family back would only put them in jeopardy of being killed again. That's why it's not going anywhere anyways. So I'm gonna take this in account, and I'm gonna tell myself that one day I'll be reunited with my family when it's time. The time is proper, and maybe that the other world I'm gonna be in will be a lot better. Because what I saw, well, all I know is that deep down There has to be something way better above, you know, if there's something worse, honestly. I'm just gonna wait till I go home. People don't realize, all the heartbreaks and the hardships I've been through, and they all hear my story, but they don't care. They wouldn't fight back. They're too busy living their daily lives and this and that and complaining about their own shit, and they live 10,000 better times better than I do, At the end of the day, it's like, oh God, it's pointless. Try to teach someone to act better is impossible. You don't want to change your behavior. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to teach you better when it's impossible because you're just too stubborn to learn better. And that's the truth. You're just too stubborn overall in the world to accept a new reality or accept a change. You're just too stubborn to actually do the right thing. You're just so used to doing crimes. You're so used to being in power. You're so used to being able to do what you want with anybody you want and kill who you want and rape who you want and abuse of everybody you want across the globe. And you are never going to learn any better unless you're shot. And honestly, it's what it is. I'm just in a situation where I'm locked out no matter what I do. So you can laugh at me, that you won or that you had power over me all you want. I honestly don't even care because I know where I'm going. Contrary to you, at least I know where I'm going. And honestly, at least I know I was a good person, mostly, and I try to help poor people and people in need and people with disabilities. I try to be a good doctor, I guess, of sorts. You know what I mean? At least on some level, at least I'm not like a lot of you, across the globe. I'm not perfect. I don't want to put myself on a pedestal and tell me I'm Mr. Perfect. But looking back at what I know, I'm still a lot better than a lot of people on the planet. I have my problems. I have my bad days. I admit it. There's some moments that I'm not an easy person to go with. But anyways, all I know is I've been wasting my time. And it's a good thing because it's a lesson learned. At the end of the day, I learned a huge lesson. Quit trying to be the hero for once in your life, and just appreciate the little moment you have left. And I'm going to be a lot better. I'm a little heartbroken that it's ended up to no real success at all. You know what I mean? I am a little hurt deep down, but am I going to spend the rest of my life crying over it? No. I am very proud of all I tried to achieve and all I did in my life, and no one can take that away from me. And if you still persist on torturing me and ruining my life and killing people I care about, or killing me, or raping me, or hacking my devices just to watch me jerk off and sell me on the dark web, and that just proves my point, there's girls in town who say they've seen me on the internet jerking off, and it's like, how do you even know? And how does it? I'm not the one who posted that. I mean, I'm not the one who posted my videos on the internet. It's like you saw it from a child molester's website or server on the dark web, and you're 17, 18 years old, and you tell me you saw me on the internet that I have a nice dick. Yeah, it's like you have to realize the evils that are in this world and the greed and the lust and the negative energy. Is like, God, all I was trying to do is heal some people. And look at all the bad you're doing just to stop me. Because you're afraid to lose out on some money. And on top of that, you would steal my research, my inventions, and try to repatent constantly on your own. Or try to steal it, or try to make it work, or try to It's just like Donald Trump trying to steal my crystal meth pills in the States. It's like